Sydney and Melbourne and around the country, so it's been a strange year.
Well, a few more months left. We're looking forward to catching up again on the 20th of January when we get to find out who takes over your reins and who becomes the next young Australian. But congratulations, you've been a wonderful ambassador so far. We're looking forward to another 2 months of you and your profile, but most importantly, have a great day and we hope you're back a winner.
Cheers, thanks a lot.
All right, back to you, Peter.
Sandra Sully down near the Channel 10 marquee, and Sandy will be joining us right throughout the day. Time to have an updated look at the Foster's Melbourne Cup totes coming up later in the day. 3.3 million in the win pool, 2.2 million in the place pool. That is on Super Tab. There'll probably be $150 million wagered on this race throughout the nation. And you can see the movers there in the green. That means that they have drifted out, and the mauve colour means that they have tightened up and have been supported. Sky Height's the favourite at 5.30. Remember, Tim Gossage has given us a bit of a tip. Tie the Knot has already tightened up in the bookmakers ring. Arena at $15, The Hind at $10, Travel Mate at $11 are the principal chances on that page. Old Skybow at 42. The Message is Long Odds Streak at 18. Has just eased out 30 cents. Trimming up a little bit, Able Master and Bohemiath at big odds, as too has number 17, Rogan Josh, in 30 cents, now $6.30, $10.20 for Lay Beal, also well in contention as we go over the page to the last 6 runners, and the best of those on the tape is number 22, The Warrior, which has tightened up 20 cents into $30.90. It is just less than 4.5 hours away. The Foster's Melbourne Cup for 1999. We're about 6 minutes away from the running of the second event, and we'll be back to take a look at the horses as all of the preparations go on here at Flemington in all of the restaurants. We'll take a break and be back with you in just a moment before the second event. Race 2, the Peters Drumstick Stakes, a listed race for 2-year-olds. It's over 1,000 metres. The scratchings are number 8, Blab, and 9, Foxtrot. And even though it's not running today, Blab, this filly, is beautifully known, trained by Lee Friedman. She is out of a mare called Don't Stop Talking. So some imagination has gone into that. And some imagination has gone into some of the outfits here at Flemington today as well. Here are the totes. I'll Get By at $3.30 is still the favourite. Folsham Street has significantly tightened up. Look at that. It's in $2.50 into $4.90. So that's been a big move. Jesterella Boy in contention with Maeve Treese. Also Versace Kid and Veteran. The 2 outsiders are Toy Story at 26 and Hilda at $16. All important to find out what's been happening in the betting ring here. Tim Gossage is just the man to tell us.
I hope so, Peter. Well, there is a bit of a drifter here, actually. Number 2, Folsham Street. As you said, it is a very good price on the tote. Much shorter in the ring, but it is a drifting favourite. There's not a lot of money for anything in particular. If anything, a bit of specking down the bottom for number 10, Hilda. So really, to be quite honest, Folsham Street much shorter in the ring than it is on the tote, but punters not too keen.
And that was Folsham Street out behind the gates there as we take a look at the map for the Peters Drumstick Stakes. 1,000 metres and only a field of 8. The stalls are in the middle of the course, so it'll be interesting to see which way they go. And there we have 2 selections. I'll Get By from 4 of us. Folsham Street from Jennifer and Gary prior to the running of the second event. Looks a nice tight Folsham Street from what we saw out behind the gates there, Jen.
Yes, and looks quite fit too. Well, as I said, he did have the 2 trials, and his last trial was very good, in very good time. So I think he'll go quite close here.
And I'll Get By is the one that is favourite on the tote, trained by Gay Waterhouse. Hard to know what to make of the exposed form as compared to the 5 unraced, but should be in the finish, you'd think, Rich.
I think you can stick a pin in them and get the winner here. I would have some respect, though, for number 3, Jesterella Boy. Trained on the track by Rory's Jester, and here it is on screen, and it does look fit and going to the gates there. These young horses would be very nervous going to the gates for their first race, and I can tell you there'll be a few nervous jockeys on them as well.
Yes, especially once they go into the gates there, and it is a very confined space, and we can see that from some of the shots we get from the barrier. Look at that. There isn't much room in there. These are the Super Tab dividends for $1, and you can see the move for those horses. Blab scratched, number 8. Number 9, Foxtrot is also out, so we've got a field of 8 to run. And of course the crowd is right up against the outside rail there too, and as they come down the straight, so that could be a factor, and quite often we see these 2-year-olds move away from the crowd as they get closer to the winning post. All right, let's head upstairs now to the gentleman with the perfect view of the 1,000-metre start for the Peters Drumstick Stakes. Again, Dan Malicki, and with him is Gary Willits. Gary, good morning to you.
Yes, good morning, Peter. Good morning, everyone. Well, it's a great view up here at the moment. Peter, this crowd out here has built up. I'd say there'd be 60, 70,000 people here already. But by gee, I like the look of the number 3 here, Gestarella Boy and Folsham Street. I thought they looked beautiful. I'll Get By, number 1. But they'll run pretty quick time down here, Danny.
Well, are these having their first start, Gary? There's only I'll Get By, Veteran and Hilda that have raced. So the names are not well known, but they well could be.
Yes, they'll run pretty good time. I know my old mate Bobby Hoyster will be home watching this, and I tell you now, Manicato, our old mate, he would have loved a track like this that it's like today.
Now, Veteran going up, it finished very strongly at Moonee Valley at its previous start. Right on, and away they go. Gestarella Boy jumped out okay and getting away well. Mavor Treese went straight down to the inside rail. The lead out from Folsham Street, Gestarella Boy. Then came Hilda and Versace Kid. I'll Get By getting back. It's almost back to last when they settle with Toy Story, and Veterans about midfield and the Cerise colours wide out. Coming onto the course proper, 600 to go. Mavor Treese is the leader from Folsham Street outside it. Then Gestarella Boy right behind them, and now Veteran going up to make a line of 3. Hilda next with Versace Kid, about 2 lengths to I'll Get By, about 6 off the lead. Toy Story's last to the 400 metres. It's Mavor Treese in front. Folsham Street ran out of a bit of room there, and he's dropped back. Veteran second, third the inside. Gestarella Boy, Veteran going up. Gestarella Boy on the rails, 2 lengths. Versace Kid making ground. Gestarella Boy goes through to take the lead from Veteran, though he starts to open up on Gestarella Boy, though it's drawn clear by 2 lengths. Veteran trying hard, but Gestarella Boy will win it with Brett Preble, 1.5 lengths to Veteran. Mavor Treese stuck on well for third, and then came Hilda. I'll Get By, never really a serious chance. Then Versace Kid. Folsham Street dropped right out of it. It was gone at the 400, and Toy Story at the rear with it.
Yes, very good win, Dan. Gestarella Boy, Brett Preble, he's riding in such great form. He got over on the fence to follow the leaders up, and as soon as they dropped off a little bit, he got a beautiful rails run through. And as I've often said, those 2-year-olds, if you can get on that running rail, it's worth 3 or 4 lengths to you. They just hold their line and go so straight. Veteran was a very good run, proved a lot with the blinkers on for the first time, and the other first starter, Nova Street. Now here they are, Arrow, there's the winner. Circled there, Brett Preble's just looking for that run on the fence. Gets through on the inside here. Veteran's the one in the Cerise colours and Ingham colours, John Hawkes. But you can see once he gets on that rail, it's worth a lot to you on a 2-year-old, especially a first starter.
Veteran battled on well. He raced a lot closer to the pace today. He got a long way back at Moonee Valley in that small field, but he battled on well. And the first 3 place getters, which, by the way, are 3, 7 and 4. Apart from them, there was nothing else that was really in contention. I'll Get By was always too far back, and Folsham Street was probably the first beaten, Gary.
That's right. And there they are circled again. This is a great head-on shot. You can see the room here, coming through here. Just coming through, gets to the line very good. Now, I think Mark Hastenberg with a very happy David Hall.
That's for sure, Gary. You're in great form at the moment. And you haven't stopped smiling since Saturday.
I haven't got much of a voice left from the cheering either, Mark. But, oh, look, before you're coming to Cup Week, I mean, you sort of get a little bit confident about a couple of them, but you can never be sure on these days because you know how competitive it is. This colt has never done anything wrong at all. He's had 2 trials and just went through the motions beautifully both times. And you know, we knew he'd be really hard to beat, but as I said, you come here on Cup Day and everybody's in the same boat. They all feel pretty confident. So until they go out and do it, it's a bit of a relief.
And the fella aboard's going pretty well as well.
Yeah, Brett's got his tail up, you might add. He had a pretty ordinary Caulfield Cup day, and things have really turned around, and he's riding with a lot of confidence.
Congratulations, David. Good start to the day.
Thanks very much.
Good on you, mate. Back to you, Pete.
A very throaty David Hall down there with Mark Aston after Gestarella Boy defeated Veteran and Mavor Treese in the second, the Peters Drumstick Stakes. We'll take a break from Network 10's live and exclusive coverage of the great day, Foster's Melbourne Cup Day. Got 2 down, 8 to go. The Peters Drumstick Stakes has just been run and won. And Jesterella Boy came to the races for the first time on Foster's Melbourne Cup Day, and he's walked away with the prize. And that prize is $39,000 in stakes and the trophy, which we'll see being presented very shortly. Jesterella Boy continuing David Hall's great run, ridden by Brett Preble, defeating Veteran and Mavertrice, and they've all weighed in correctly. So we get the correct weight signal from Des Gleeson, brought to you by Maggi, and with correct weight, Super Tab dividends are official, Daniel.
$5 even and $1.70 for Jesterella Boy. Number 3, second 7 Veteran, 190, and 4 Mavertrice, 290. Quinella paid 19.50. The trifecta 277.60. Exacta, which is first and second in exact order, pays 32.10. So if you had 3 from 7, you'd get $32.10 in an exacta bet. And the race to race double, $21.50. So Jesterella Boy, David Hall and Brett Preble continuing on their merry way in the 2-year-old. Probably in the too hard basket for most, Tim Gossage, because of the number of first starters in there, but certainly we'll know that Jesterella Boy and company are some pretty smart youngsters.
Yeah, it was a drifter down here, Jesterella Boy. In fact, there was not really a lot of interest in that 2-year-old race. The outright favourite certainly was a significant drifter in Folsham Street. In the next, Dan, you'll be pleased to know that number 2, Musical Chimes, has opened up favourite down here in the Bookrakers Ring. And I'll also say that still not a significant amount of money for the Cup at this stage, but there's been some specking for Tie the Knot in a couple of points from double figure odds. Peter Donegan.
Tim Gossage in the betting ring, keeping us up to date, and there is Rogan Josh, the 7-year-old, hoping to become the first of his age since Vintage Crop back in '93 to win the Foster's Melbourne Cup. He looks nice and relaxed in his box there. He was a superb performance in the McKinnon Stakes on Saturday, and he'll be coming out as one of the favourites in the Foster's Melbourne Cup at 20 minutes after 3 this afternoon. But more immediate matters, the next race, the Singapore Challenge over 1,700 metres, and Dancing Apollo has come up at $12.20. Musical Chimes, the one that Tim Gossage just mentioned, at $3.90. Distant Beauty in the betting at $4.70. Listening's Joy at $9.70. Good odds for Plata Aura from the north, Golden Form, Perfect Lady and Strictly Jazz. Afra Ben is at $7.80. And then we go over the page, and most of these are at pretty long odds. The best of them is number 12, and that is Western Dove at $19.70 and $6.10. Almost $200,000 in the win pool, which will, of course, leap considerably as we get closer to race time, which is 30 minutes away for race number 3, and that is the Singapore Challenge over 1,700 metres. And look at this great sight. We have been blessed with the weather today. There was that period between 1992 and 1995 when we turned up to Flemington practically every first Tuesday in November, and we wanted to have our gumboots on because the weather was not kind to us. But the last 4 years, Saintly's year, Might and Power's year, Jezebel's year, and now this year have been terrific. There's Rabor, another one of the Bart Cummings runners who will be starting in the Foster's Melbourne Cup, and he's giving us a bit of a nod. We'll take a break and be back with more as Network 10's live and exclusive coverage of the second day of the Melbourne Cup Carnival continues from fabulous Flemington. The racing mass here in Melbourne on Sunday, as they always do before Melbourne Cup Day. I'm not sure whether that gentleman was presiding over the racing mass, but many of the industry were there, and there is a good spot to be up above these beautiful roses and this wonderful racecourse. The big members grandstand being constructed, not causing any inconvenience at all, and the massive crowd which is here on the lawns at Flemington and in the infield enjoying today's proceedings. All right, the second event has been decided, as we said, and a victory going to David Hall's runner, Jesterella Boy. Let's go to Gary Mudford, who's the National Sales Manager of Nestlé Ice Creams.
Cup Day is a momentous occasion, steeped in tradition and history. And Nestlé Peters Ice Cream are honoured to be associated with the Victorian Racing Club and the Melbourne Cup Carnival this year. We're also delighted to be the sponsors of the Peters Drumstick Stakes and to be involved in this gala event. The fun and excitement of the day fits perfectly with the Nestlé Peters philosophy of giving the people more of what they want. The Peters Drumstick Stakes was certainly an exciting, hard-fought race over 1,000 metres, and Jesterella was a worthy winner. Well done to all the riders, and I'd now like to congratulate and present to Chris Jay, on behalf of the owners and connections, the trophy.
Gary Mudford representing Nestle Ice Creams, presenting the trophy to the Winning Connections with Jesterella Boy after race 2 on the card. Now, I should bring the panel in just for a moment here as we're about to say goodbye and head down to the marquee. We've had an email from Andrew from Wagga Wagga who says, we keep on seeing Des Gleeson go to the desk, wave his hand and go, correct weight. What happens if the weight is not correct?
You don't see
I'll
him.
tell you what happens then. Then the jockey, who if he's waiting late, will call for the bridle and can call for the plates off the horse as well.
Is that
to
right?
Actually, to add to the weight to get him over the line.
And if there is an inconsistency in the weight then the jockey is in trouble.
He'll be disqualified.
Yeah. So there you go, Andrew. And if you've got anything on the email, why don't you give us an email throughout the day? And it is thecup@network10.com.au. There it is. Well, Jennifer, I think it is high time we made the very enjoyable walk that we enjoy so much every year from the studio down to the excitement of the mounting yard.
We sure do. We get right amongst it and can't wait to see some of these beautiful horses as well.
Richard Friedman, we'll look forward to joining you. You'll be with us in the mounting yard right before the big one, the Foster's Melbourne Cup.
Yes, I'm looking forward to being back here for it too, Pete.
And Johnny Letts, you're about to be reunited with Banjo, and I'm sure it's still a great thrill for you to be out there in front of 100,000 people.
It is, Pete, and I'll be talking to the happiest guy in Australia in about 3 or 4 hours' time.
No doubt about that, and I might be talking to the second happiest because the trainer will be with me and the jockey will be with you. We hope that we've managed to find you the winner of the Foster's Melbourne Cup. Thanks for being with us in the early part of our program. Jen and I are heading to the mounting yard, and as we do, we take you out to the members' car park where all the fun and frivolity have been going on for a couple of hours already, and here is the absolutely delightful Sandra Sully.
I'll cradle you all well and take good care of you before I hand you over to Tim Webster for the afternoon. But we have a couple of sensational hours ahead. You know, you also have a wonderful chance to win. Don't forget our Magi Race of the Century competition. We have lots of stars and celebrities, as they always do, pop in to say hello. I like to say good day in particular for our international viewers. But today, some of the guests popping by, Mikey Robbins from Good News Week, Unreal TV's Tim Ferguson, and of course all our favourite neighbours. A special guest today, round the world solo yachtsman Jesse Martin. I know Tim Webster and I are fighting over him. Let's just see who wins that competition, as opposed to those who are going to win, like yourselves, the Magi Race of the Century competition. And all the details we'll be bringing you throughout the day, but don't forget your chance to win a great prize. Tickets for two to the Kentucky Derby, as they like to say. We like to call it the Derby, but nevertheless a great competition. Now down to business. At this time of the year, there is one name that stands head and shoulders above the rest. You know, sometimes he doesn't always have a strong cup contender, but his reputation always demands his horses are never overlooked. It's a reputation built on 4 decades of success. You know who I'm talking about. There is no one better than the master trainer himself.
Took a leap towards heaven after winning the 1996 Melbourne Cup on Saintly. His faith wasn't only in his religion, but in his trainer. This was Bart Cummings' 10th triumph. The Master.
He is an absolute genius with a capital G.
James Bartholomew Cummings' connection with the Cup began well before he won his first. In 1950, his father Jim trained the winner, Comic Court. Bart was the horse's strapper. 15 years later, the beginning of an era. With Roy Higgins in the saddle, little mare Light Fingers showed her hand in one of the Cup's best finishes. Stablemate Zaima second. Bart Cummings had opened his Cup tally with a Quinella. In 1967, the first trainer's hat-trick in Cup history, when red-handed, Higgins again riding, stole victory at the post.
At the half furlong, Redcrest in front, but now red-handed giving plenty draws to Redcrest. Taylor about to go for the whip on Redcrest, but it's red-handed's Cup. Red-handed scores by a neck to Redcrest. Floodbird flashed up to be third.
A Cummings horse didn't win the Cup again for 7 years. But when it did, once wasn't enough. Think big with the honours in 74. And the following year, at 33 to 1, he defied the odds on a heavy track.
And Think Big up on the outside has raced up to this leader now with about 200 metres left to go. And Think Big has got to the front from Medici. Down the outside is Holiday Wagon. But Think Big is the leader. Holiday Wagon is coming home well, followed by Medici. Then Silverman can't win, but Think Big wins.
There were 2 2 more victories in the 70s, Golden Black in 77 and Hyperno 79. But the 80s were lean, not one cup success. But like the best cup runners, Cummings proved to stay, and the 90s have again seen him saluted. 1990, Kingston rule.
Kingston rule in front. The Phantom trying to get up on the inside, but it's Bart's 8th cup, and Kingston rule wins the Melbourne Cup.
And 91, gigantic mare, Let's Alone. Shiver's Revenge finished 2nd. Cummings 5th, Quinella.
Let's Alone bolts the cup in, wins by 3 lengths, and it's a Cummings Quinella.
Saintly was his last win, but few would argue it will be his final win in this great race.
Well, this is the 1999 Melbourne Cup Day. A wonderful day, 4 days, in fact, of wonderful racing, but this is the big one, the Holy Grail. Stick around, we've got a lot more for you right after the break. And just to give you a feast before your eyes, it's a fashion extravaganza. Enjoy. We'll see you soon.
Tie the Knot. I know I had a shocker the other day, but I'll stay with Tie the Knot and Rogan Josh. I've sort of been following them the last month, so this year I'm not going to get off them for a change. So they're the two, Tie the Knot and Rogan Josh.
Well, I've taken a good look at all the colours that the jockeys are wearing, which is the criteria I always select, and I've decided I like turquoise with white hoops, which of course would be Rogan Josh.
I was going to tip, I'm going to bet on the horse that has the longest odds. I figure if you're going to blow $20, you might as well do it on a long shot.
Well, being a great supporter of marriage, originally I was going for Tie the Knot, but I've had a tip from the trainer and Love Beal, I think, is a sir.
Oh, okay. What about you, Al?
Well, the cup is Cummings, and I love Indian food. It's Rogan Josh, all the way.
An outside chance, only an outside.
Cut it out.
Good luck.
Too old.
Thanks, Andrew.
Gosh, we had fun last night at the Variety Club's Melbourne Cup Eve Ball, and as you can see, everyone was forthright with their tips, but somehow I think that line about Rogan Josh and enjoying a good Indian meal will be somewhat frequent today. Now, a woman who's frequent as we love it, our own fashion roving eye, Lynn Talbot's out on the members' lawn. And Lynn, you're with a millinery maestro of Melbourne.
Exactly, Philip Rhodes, and we are surrounded by a sea of feathers and flowers and all sorts of things today. You must be in your element here, being a judge of classic hats in the Maya Fashions on the Field competition.
Well, Lynn, it could be heaven, it could be hell.
You've seen some bad ones, have you?
I think a lot of people are picking the glue gun out of the fingernails this morning, yes.
But you've seen some classy ones as well.
I've seen some really good stuff. I saw a Mickey Mouse ears with the cherries, which was really cute, and I've seen some really beautiful hats as well.
Good on you. Now, what does constitute a good hat?
Well, I think these days that what we're looking for is, when hats aren't daily wear, we're looking for something that's fun and something that enhances the wear and just catches the day, I think. That's what we really look for.
It's going to be tricky for you today to pick the winner, but never mind. Best of luck. They look so gorgeous out there.
Thank you. You look gorgeous too, Lynn.
Oh, why, thank you, Philip Rose. I'm getting a compliment here, Sandra. Isn't this wonderful? We like that.
Of course you're getting compliments, Lynn. You look spectacular today. And I might add, Philip made my hat last year for Oaks Day, so he's an extraordinary milliner. If he can make a wonderful hat to suit me, I might add. Now, back to the business of racing, and you know, there's a family, an institution that's been involved with racing, and there are a number of names that you can always drop, but one in particular, and in particular this carnival, is the Hayes family. You know, they set up some time ago Lindsay Park, the stud, the training and breeding ground, and on Saturday the Hayes family took out the Amy Victoria Derby. What a day it was for them. Let's take a look at the racing dynasty, the Hayes family.
The rolling majesty of Lindsay Park. This is horse racing in the full circle. A breeding haven and nursery where broodmares nurture future stars. A kindergarten where juveniles are first taught to use nature's gifts. A training university where countless feature race winners use outstanding facilities to fit them for battle. And sometimes the very best of them return in retirement to stand at stud and start the cycle over again. Home to the Hayes dynasty, Lindsay Park is such a glorious part of Australia's rich turf history that it's easy to forget what courage and vision it took for Colin Hayes to build it more than 30 years ago.
Oh, it was a huge gamble. I mean, most people in the industry thought he was crazy, that you couldn't train horses out in the country, you couldn't travel them the distances that you had to travel them back into Adelaide to race. As a matter of fact, you know, as I said, he was the leading stable in South Australia, probably had 60 to 70 horses in work, which was a big team then. And when we came up to Lindsay Park, we had 12 horses. So, you know, so he lost the majority of his owners and the majority of his horses by coming up here to Lindsay Park.
Peter Hayes, like his brother David before him, has slipped easily into the role as master of the breeding and racing stables at Angaston in South Australia. But he says that's because he had a good teacher.
Since Dad retired, I think that both David and I have done quite well. But I think that's more sort of Dad's legacy than ours, really. I mean, Dad was the genius that basically set up the concept and set up the property and set up the methods. And you'd have to be pretty stupid not to train winners out of here.
With its magnificent contours, Lindsay Park is one of the most picturesque studs in the Southern Hemisphere. Fra, Jeune and Military Plume, all multiple Group 1 winners, are keeping the circle going by standing at Lindsay Park. For more than 20 years, the Hayes stable had won the Melbourne Training Premiership until Lee Friedman defeated Peter. But the Hayes name is once again back on top.
And they will be hoping they'll be back on top today with the hind in the big race, the Foster's Melbourne Cup. Someone else who has a vested interest in today, no doubt, with Tim Webster, the Federal Minister for Sport, Jackie Kelly. Hi, Tim.
She certainly does have an interest. Jackie Kelly, welcome.
Pleasure to be here. Isn't it one of the greatest domestic tourism events on our entire Australian calendar?
Absolutely. And you're here with Bub?
That's right. This one is backing hind, you know, kicks like...
Kicks like her, yes, exactly. Now, this is your first year here as the Minister, but you used to come a lot when you were with the RAF.
That's right. I went through my training here at Point Cook and was stationed here for some time and made the Melbourne Cup, but usually in the car park.
Not as salubrious as in here.
No, we never actually got to see the race.
Now, you mentioned the domestic tourism. Wouldn't you love to be able to bottle this and know what it was, because you'd sent it right around Australia? It's extraordinary.
Look, I think we are doing something. We're studying the strategies that are being used here in terms of tourism, the whole sports-tourism relationship, which is getting an enormous boost in today's economy and today's type of entertainment. This is also going out beyond Australia. There's about 700 million people right around the world in 170 countries who will be watching this. So we're actually taking it from an Australian event into an absolute international event.
Yeah, we certainly are. Enjoy your day.
Thank you very much.
Our Minister, Sandra.
Thank you, Tim. And yes, we are all excited about our international viewers, and it's great to have you with us. Well, let's get down to business. Race 3 is up next. Peter and Jenny are in the mounting yard. And Pete, you managed to pick the winner of the mares race on Saturday. Let's see if you can do it again.
Oh, yeah, I think it's going to be tough, Sandra, but we did manage to do that on Saturday. We managed, between the lot of us, to find a few winners on Saturday, but that's ancient history. We've got to find some today.
Let's see if we can do it today.
And they're on their way to the stalls for the running of this, the third, the Singapore Challenge. It's over 1,700 metres, so let's take a look at some of these runners. Dancing Apollo number 1, ridden by Darren Gauci for Marilyn Smith at Cheltenham.
She won the Northern Territory Derby back in July, and I thought it was a nice effort from her at Moonee Valley when she fought on well. The 1,700 metres will suit. The weight's a worry, though.
Musical Chimes number 2 is certainly in contention. The tote favourite on opening figures. Damien Oliver, the rider. Robert Smurden from Ballarat trains and has drawn ideally in gate 1.
Yeah, she's got a terrific chance in this race. She's a Flemington winner over this distance, and the 1,500 metres was too short for her last start, so the 1,700